Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Phil Ayres. I'm an architect and a researcher at CETA. That stands for the Centre for Information Technology and Architecture. That's a research centre that's based within the Danish Royal Academy of Fine Arts. I'm also a principal investigator on the HOST project called Flora Robotica. And just to give a little bit of foundation and context for Maria and Alberto's residency. So Flora Robotica is a 4-year funded project under the EU Horizon 2020. It's a project that gathers a very broad consortium of disciplines, and our objective is to look at how to build tight symbiotic relationships between plants and robots to grow architecture and architectural artifacts and spaces. In terms of the robotics, we're looking at decentralized and distributed paradigms, which is working with self-organization. In terms of some of the technologies we're developing, we're evolving robotic controllers for being able to steer plants towards intended targets. But we also have technologies that are about electrophysiology, so actually taking biopotentials directly from plants and understanding the impacts that the environment is putting onto it. We're also building a lot of artificial scaffolds, and this is really the work that we're doing as architects. We're using scaffolds as a way of hosting the robots and also steering the plant growth. And in this way, it's important for us to be able to have design tools that allow us to understand their mechanical performance, but also as a way to instruct their fabrication, because these are artificial growth objects. So we're looking at methods of fabrication using centralized controllers, and we're also looking at using self-organized principles with swarm of robots as a way of producing braided artifacts. We're coming into the final year of the project, and in that year we're really looking to try and integrate these different technologies to be able to produce experiential spaces that people can enjoy. And you can see more information about the project at this website. So that gives a little brief context for Maria and Alberto's residency.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria. I'm an artist and I work with my partner, Alberto Valverde, who is artist and technologist, is today here with us. We are both based in Spain, and we started to work together 9 years ago because we were both interested in the relationships between humans and machines. During the last years, we have been focused in create wearable interfaces with the aim to research about how we can enhance human capabilities. For example, Environment Res, a wearable device that allows us to link emotions with environmental data. Or this other work, Symbiotic Interaction, a wearable device that allows us to receive data from the plants thanks to a sensor that we have developed. This sensor can measure electrical oscillations in plants, and we realized that these oscillations depend on the environment and the surrounding of the plant. This is only an example of our artistic work with plants, and the plants and the robots were the main reason that to apply to work with Flora Robotica team. So, our first idea of our work for the Vertigo residency was to create a wearable device able to feel the plants in our own skin, with the aim of go forward the communication human-plants. Then we traveled to Copenhagen, and we spent 3 weeks at CETA with Phil and his team. And we also visited other Flora Robotica partners at AT University. And we also traveled to Lübeck, the University of Lübeck in Germany. So the more we know about Flora Robotica project, the more we think that something more apart the wearable will be needed in our artwork in order to engage the public. So we planned to develop an interactive garden, as you see in the picture, a garden that will be the main brain of the installation. We also planned to develop some mechanical plants moved by the biological plants. And the key of the artwork, some soft devices able to pick them up by the public and feel the plants on their hands, like this one. Well, back in Spain, we started to work at Laboral Art Center in Gijón, our producer, in the design of all the parts of the garden. We built our electronics, our electronic holders, the interfaces, and the garment, using 3D printing as an useful tool, And the result is that a big garden that now is displayed at Laboral Centro de Arte until September. An installation that allows the public to know and experiment the secret language of plants. A transdisciplinary work which connects art, science, technology, and society. So let's see a video of the artwork.
The question then becomes, how does the art residency actually feed back to the project? And really, I think these two slides allow us to begin to see the linkage. Our vision in 2015 is on the left, where we were beginning to explore the idea that we would be building architectures that have this relationship between artificial growing artifacts, biologically growing artifacts, and this ecology of distributed and decentralized robotics, together with the human factor. So the human would be in the loop here. Now, you may have noticed that in the film that I showed about the project at the outset, we didn't actually show any people in that movie at all. And this is where I think the first contribution comes back from the artist residency, is to remind us that we need to be engaging with the human in the loop. And what's very nice is, of course, Maria and Alberto have actually produced interfaces that allow us to plug directly into some of the architectural material, the plants that we're dealing with. They're also offering a very intimate understanding of what an architecture could be. So here the interfacing is really about being on the body, and to me as an architect this harks back to some of the work from the 1960s, looking at people like Coop Himmelblau and Hans Rucker, for example, where there was this kind of perhaps more of a scenographic understanding of the relationship between a very intimate architecture and how that mediates between the body and the broader world. We bring this forward 50 years and we see that the technologies now actually exist for us to be actually in some kind of technologically mediated conversation with plants directly. So I think that is the real innovation that this residency has brought to the project. Thank you very much.
Thank you.